Hello and welcome to the program. I'm Shola Shoyeli. Senior Advocate of Nigeria Yakubu Chonoko Maikyau graduated from the Faculty of Law of the Ahmadu Bello University in Zaria in 1989. After attending the law school, he was called to the bar. A year later, he started his law practice at Danladi Bamayi & Co. He rose to become the head of chambers and resigned in 2003 to start his private law practice in his name, YC Maikyau & Co., with offices in Abuja and Sokoto. In 2011, he was conferred with the prestigious rank of Senior Advocate of Nigeria, SAN. YC, as he is fondly called by his admirers, is a fellow of the Chartered Institute of Arbitrators, UK. He's also a graduate of Rema Bible Training Center, Nigeria, where he was awarded a diploma in ministerial training with an emphasis on societal leadership. Mr. Maikyau has held several positions within the Nigerian bar and is the current chairman of the NBA Welfare Committee. I began our chat with how he intends to deal with the divisions in the bar and ensure an all-inclusive bar. The NBA has this dual role of being a professional body and a pressure group, speaking about issues of justice, human rights, rule of law, and even the independence of the judiciary in making society work well. But depending on who you ask, it's doubtful how the bar has lived up to expectations in fulfilling these roles of being a professional body and being a pressure group that speaks on behalf of society. From my interactions with lawyers across the country, many agree that there are divisions in the bar. In fact, it's not unusual to find the bar, the body of benchers, the body of senior advocates, all speaking or purportedly speaking on behalf of the bar on different issues and moving in different directions. So if you do become president of the bar, how are you going to address all of these divisions within the bar and bring unity back to the profession?
The legal profession itself, it's primarily called to the place of leadership by reason of the privilege that we have as lawyers to be schooled, trained, and instructed on the subject of justice. And so there is a need for all lawyers. And here I'm talking about lawyers, whether performing the role as ministers in the temple of justice, on the bench, or as members of the bar. So once there is that clear understanding of that primary responsibility of the call upon every lawyer to the person of justice, and that is the primary motivation for the way we do things, we would recognize who we are first and foremost and be motivated to do what we are called to do as leaders in the society, socio-economic change makers in the society, political change makers in the society. And we would see less or even no such divisions that you are talking about. And the Nigerian Bar Association is the body that is recognized to speak for every member of the legal profession. So there may be some groups here and there, even the body of senior advocates, for instance. It's a part of the Nigerian Bar Association. So all we need to do is to let our members have this clear understanding of first and foremost who we are, what should motivate the actions that we do in the discharge of those primary responsibility. And I'm sure with that understanding and engagement between all these seemingly different groups within the Nigerian Bar Association, we'll come to that understanding and we'll be able to continue to be that united force that would speak for the people of this country and also for the members of the Nigerian Bar Association. So what we will do is actually to speak to our members, to let them understand who we are. Many do understand who we are and what we are called to do. Many do not, and we need to speak to ourselves. We need to sit down in a room and have this truthful conversation amongst ourselves. And that is the only way we can play that leadership role that we are called to play primarily as members of the legal profession.
One of the issues that is also a sore topic for a lot of lawyers is the issue of ethics amongst lawyers and even non-lawyers. It's not clear what has become of the senior lawyers who were involved in the issue of conflicting ex parte orders. We saw that the former CJN moved against some of the judges that were involved, but the NBA on its part said that it was collating the lawyers involved and it would report them to the LPDC. But so far, we don't know how that case has progressed. But I read your 28-page manifesto and saw that you addressed the issue of professional conduct and discipline. You also said that the current administration had made a case for the review of the LPDC rules to provide for the participation of the NBA in the disciplinary process of members, and that your administration will pursue this to ensure that the NBA fully participates with renewed vigor and purposefulness. How long does it take to review the LPDC rules typically? How will your administration speed up the process and ensure that there is discipline among lawyers in the profession?
Okay, so I was privileged under the administration of Mr. A.B. Mahmood to be a member of the Legal Practitioners Regulation Review Committee set up by his administration with the view to look at the legal profession and come up with regulations that would guide the conduct of its members. And a report was put together by that committee, and the body of senior advocates of Nigeria also did some work, because that would necessarily entail the review of the existing legislation, the Legal Practitioners Act. Also, the body of benchers equally did some work in that respect. And there was a harmonization process, and a proposed amendment bill was sent to the National Assembly. Now, there are a few areas of contention between the Nigerian Bar Association, the body of benchers, with respect to certain provisions of that bill. And that has been taken up by the president of the Nigerian Bar Association, Mr. Olubide Apata. Only recently he did a letter restating the position of the Nigerian Bar Association with respect to the provisions of that bill, particularly the fact that the Nigerian Bar Association is strongly opposed to the body of benchers having control over legal profession in Nigeria, which is a view that I strongly support myself. And so with respect to the discipline of senior lawyers, whenever they misconduct themselves, that is something that we would do without batting an eye. Because without the discipline of our members, there is no way we can earn the confidence of the public to drive the leadership that we are called to do naturally as lawyers. So the Nigerian Bar Association is handicapped in some way, because if the public has complained that, okay, we report members of the Nigerian Bar Association, and either you are slow in dealing with their issues or you don't do anything at all, the solution is not to take out the Nigerian Bar Association completely. Make those who are supposed to do what they need to do carry out their responsibility, so that issues of discipline, whenever we receive complaints against members, those issues are entertained and dealt with expeditiously. That is the only way we can get the sort of confidence from the public to continue to look up to us as those that are called to provide the leadership that they are looking for in the country.
Another issue that I want you to speak to is perhaps the greatest challenge that is facing the legal profession today: how to tackle the issues of unemployment, lack of opportunities, poor pay, inadequate training, especially for the large army of young lawyers in the country. What have you done in the past to help tackle these issues, and what more needs to be done?
We are in a global community today. Technology has brought disruptions in what we used to know as the market. Our markets are no longer local. Our competitors are no longer those who are located in the same place that we are, because just the same way that you can take your handheld device to access what is happening in Singapore, what is happening in New York and Canada and the UK, It's the same way that our own colleagues who are also in these different locations across the globe can access what we do here in Nigeria. So the only way we can remain globally competitive, and more so for the young lawyers, because we talk about the millennials and maybe the Z generation, they are the ones who, by reason of generational traits, are so at home with technology. They understand the global language that is spoken globally. And so they can compete favorably in that particular space. But the only way they can remain competitive is if their capacities are developed. So we develop the capacities of the lawyers, and that is done by training and retraining, expand the horizon of our practice. We should not just concentrate in the traditional areas of our practice. It is not everyone called to the bar that wants to practice law the way we do it. Many would like to join the public service. Many would like to join the armed forces, the paramilitary and all. And we believe that on the platform of the Nigerian Bar Association, we can make a case for our members. What we intend to do is to establish what we described in our manifesto as an employment bureau, where we will talk to our members and let them know that we are prepared to engage different parastatals and establishments of government who engage in employment from time to time. We would do our own due diligence within the Nigerian Bar Association. We'll bring the best of us and offer to these organizations that are employing. So we believe that these are some of the things that we can do in order to bring down unemployment amongst our young lawyers, and also to help young lawyers make sure that they have startup capital. For the first time in the history of the Nigerian Bar Association, we have a saving, 1.5 billion naira. What do we intend to do to augment that? We are going to have to talk to the Central Bank of Nigeria. Consider law firms as small and medium enterprises. You don't suffer any risk in doing so. A zero risk when you are given someone who has been trained as a lawyer, someone who knows what he intends to do as a legal practitioner. He's identified a particular area of practice. He wants to start up his business. What maybe some of our colleagues will need, depending on the jurisdiction where they practice, may just be 2 million naira, or maybe a little less, either to start up the business or to augment what they are already doing. And that way, from a sole proprietorship of that business, he grows the business to a point where he can bring in someone also to employ. So that way we can begin to reduce the problem of unemployment.
Let me change gear and move to another issue that is very topical. It's generally agreed that female lawyers are underrepresented in the legal profession, especially in litigation. They are also victims of sexual harassment, as we've heard in recent times. We've had specific cases. A lot more female lawyers are looking outside the profession to other career paths. I know that the NBA has come up with a sexual harassment policy, but then we're at the stage of implementation. But how will you address this issue going forward?
We would make sure that whoever is found involved in bullying or sexually harassing a colleague, and let me say that we also have cases of the female lawyers sexually harassing the male lawyers. I mean, that may not be as rampant, but we have to accept the fact that this is something that is also going on. And what we intend to do is to make a proposal that when someone is found to have been involved in something like that, then it will be treated as a case of professional misconduct and will be dealt with as such. And if we find anybody, we will name you, we will shame you, and if we get to the point of dealing with that as an issue of professional misconduct, why not? We will do that.
Finally, what's that thing that you say stands you out from the other candidates, and why should your colleagues trust you with their votes?
I'm not someone who is transactional. I relate with people. I keep my relationships. That is what I do. And I think that, by the special grace of God, is something that we need at the leadership of the Nigerian Bar Association. A leader that you can trust, a leader that respects you, a leader that cares for you, a leader that will not do anything to hurt you, a leader that will make sacrifices for you. That is something, by the special grace of God, that I believe I am bringing to bear in that office. And that is something that I believe that the Nigerian Bar Association needs. And I expect that members of the Nigerian Bar Association have placed premium on those qualities and would like to have someone who can offer such service, who can offer the service of leadership on the platform of honesty and integrity, serve them at the level of the President of the Nigerian Bar Association. And that I would only do and can only do by the special grace of God.